Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So guys, I want to talk about some racial disparities between our neighborhoods, rich and poor, that many of us probably didn't pay attention to. And I just noticed this. I did read an article about it. It was talking about how California has one of the highest cases of people dying from heat than any other state. However, many of the things that they pointed out, I realized that I see it in my state, and I've seen it in other states across America also. There's a double threat, guys, between climate change and unequal living conditions. Many scientists call it thermal inequities. I call it environmental racism. All right. What it is that there have been studies actually showing that there are significant temperature differences between those who live in rich neighborhoods and those who live in poor neighborhoods. And most of those poor neighborhoods, those hot zones, are located in Black, Asian, and Latino, predominantly those type of neighborhoods. Okay. Part of it, yes. We have had, racist housing practices and policies put in place, redlining for a long, long time. But to be quite honest with you, a lot more can be done to correct what was done in the past, and it has not been. All right. Now, California, from my understanding, is taking steps to make these changes. However, I really haven't seen or heard of any of the other states making any changes to correct the disparities. Yes, I understand. Those who are poor, those of us who are minority, we make less money. So no, I'm not saying that we should have the same exact property as a rich person, someone who paid more money for their property. But if you look at the outside of the neighborhood, that's where you see some major differences. For example, and they've quoted this in I believe it was in the LA Times that I read this article, where there's way more trees in a rich neighborhood than there is in a poor neighborhood. And you know what? I find that to be true. The richer the neighborhood is, actually, the more trees are planted there than those that are in poor neighborhoods. Trees, guys, you might say, what? Yes, trees actually provide more shade, and it has been studied and found that a tree that's planted somewhere will decrease the temperature of an area by 10 degrees. So the more trees you have, that's one of the reasons why it's a lot cooler in the richer neighborhoods. All right. I've been looking and I've been walking around my own area. And I remember where I used to live before coming back here. And where I used to live, there was only one tree on the whole block. Not just on one side of the block, but the whole block only had one tree. And up there was hot as Hades, I'm telling you. And then on top of that, I remember one summer when Con Edison turned the power off. We had air conditioning, but when they turned the power off, we had no AC. I was livid. And then to top it off, at that time I was living on the 12th floor. So when they turned the power off, not only did we not have any AC, I didn't have an elevator. So I had to walk down in the heat 12 flights of stairs. I don't know how I made it. I don't know. Oh boy, I was hot. And when I say I was hot, I wasn't just physically hot. I was also hot inside because of what happened. All right. And I also noticed something too. I noticed that a lot of these utility companies, when they want to turn off the power, for some reason, they always want to turn off the power in the poor neighborhood. They don't turn off the power in the rich neighborhood, and they don't turn off the power in the business district, right? Because the time when they had turned off the power, it was at night. And if anything, there are certain, the way New York is set up, there's like business sections that are separate from the residential sections, right? Some businesses are 24 hours like mine, but then you have some businesses that are not. They're gone. So it's like, why not turn off the power there and leave the people who actually are residents, leave that alone? But I know most of the people who live in New York are tenants, and they don't pay as much taxes as the businesses. So that's why they did what they did. I get it. And, well, you can't really say rich people to pay more taxes than poor people, because according to Donald Trump, that's not true for all of them, right? So there you have it. There you have it. So yes, guys, I do see that the article is right. There are definitely thermal inequities, environmental racism that goes with this heat. And then what makes matters worse is that in New York, for example, we have some buildings that are very, very old. Some of the projects go back before I was born, like 30s, 20s, and, way back then, okay? They don't give the people AC. And by law, they don't have to give them AC. By law, it's only required that landlords give them heat. And many of the projects and everything, most of them are not privatized. Most of them are owned by the government. Many of them, because they are old, even if they were to get an AC, they would have to rewire the whole building, which would cost a lot. And many of the residents would not be able to, they wouldn't be able to afford that type of capital improvement with all the rent that they're getting from the tenants. And you got to remember, not every tenant pays their rent on time, and some don't pay. You have those as well. It's illegal, not legal, right? So there you have it. And then I know that one of my cousins, she actually lives in a co-op, not the projects. And her building is old. And I know that when she plugs in the AC, she has to unplug the microwave and the stove, or else she'll blow the fuse in her apartment. And I'm not sure if it affects the other apartment, but all of them in that particular building that she lives in, that's how it is. That's how it is. And see, the reason why, of course, I'm mentioning this is because heat can kill. There are some people that cannot take this heat because of medical conditions. Okay? So, all cities, and you may want to, speak to your local representatives if you notice this. And I've been to about 30 cities in the United States, and I notice it. I can't think of one city where it was equal. maybe Alabama, but most cities no. Most cities, the poorer neighborhoods, they got that hot concrete, and they may have like one tree, if they even have a tree. Because the tree is the start. The AC, of course, is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. And yes, you can get a fan as well. But even certain places, believe it or not, certain places if you want to plug in the fan, you might have to unplug another appliance in order for that to work. You really do. So yeah, guys, let me know, where do you live or work? And have you noticed the same thing in your area? And what is your state doing, if anything, to improve the cooling conditions in your neighborhood? Because all we do here, I mean, I heard that California is going to be planting more trees, but here in New York, all they have like cooling centers for the elderly to go to. And I'm like, that's not really enough. That's not really enough, and it's kind of inconvenient. Yes, they get to commune and talk and what have you, but everybody's not like that. And sometimes you need to do certain things in the heat. And to be forced to be in a place that may not accommodate you, working the way you are more normally able to work, it's just not befitting to me. It really isn't at all. So guys, yeah, this heat thing is serious. I think that many of us really, we're beginning to look into it. And unfortunately, you have some people who still don't believe in global warming. But global warming or not, even, I told you guys that my family, on my mother's side, they're all from the islands. So, they're used to this heat. It's okay. But I'm not okay with it. I'm not. And I consider myself blessed to have a basement and to have AC. And yes, I have fans as well. All right. So guys, yes. Don't forget to share this video. Let me know in the comment section what's going on. And until next time, have a good night.